Okay, recap for what was it Wednesday, the 12th of November 2025. Okay, this yeah, I did win. This was a simple day, really, right? Just because there was no options to long, right? I came to this day. Um, Yesterday was Tuesday, and we had a bank holiday, as you can see. Price was just garbage after like 1:30. I think it ends early or something like that. It's a bank holiday. I didn't trade it. However, it's actually tradable. They actually just made a market maker buy model. So because price just didn't want to go anywhere, accumulation here, started doing the selling. Um, let's actually just show it here. Uh, the only PD array at that time was this long wick, right? And as you can see, the upper quadrant right there. Don't know why this is red right now. I'll put the thing on. As you can see, we go down to the upper quadrant. Boom, that's the smart money reversal, and we just start the buy model, right? So it was tradable. What time was this? 11:30. So we open and do the final stage right here to make this kind of relative equal low, kind of whatever. Basically, went down to go up, just fill the day, right? And then eventually delivered the market made buy model, right? So I seen that and I was like, all right, cool. The last thing is bullish, so I'm just gonna eventually look for bullish prices, right? Just until I'm proven wrong. So let's get rid of this. So now we know what the low of yesterday was, right? So now let's go to the trading chart, and I'm guessing it's gonna be messy. I didn't clean it up, but we're gonna explain what the levels are, what's going on. Okay, so let's start with here, right? So price initially goes. This is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Where's London low? I don't have that marked. This is Asia low. That's London low. Alright, so London low is not here because it's both taken out by like the session after it, which is like London lunch, like not lunch. Basically, what the time between New York 7 a.m. and like whatever, right? So it's taken out here, and the low is taken out, right? So and this comes to the OTE of this range, right? This high to this low, this is OTE. So this discount on which, if we're bullish, we should start going higher, right? Make a higher high here and whatever. But in case it wants to come to discount within the range itself, I allowed for that, but it was a bit questionable, right? Why? Because at this rate, and as you can see, at this rate, probably is a messy chart, but like that's what I say. By 9:30, you should have your buys. We have one buy side liquidity, one side sell side liquidity, right at the discount. It's barely in there, right? So one buy side liquidity, one sell side liquidity. No London, no Asia. Okay. Another sell side liquidity, which is Asia. Another sell side liquidity, which is PM. Um, Lunch sell side, which I don't have marked out, but I know it is right there. And this sell side, right? And I'm just counting for like the previous day and within like 9:30. So if we have 5 sell sides and one buy side, where the hell do you think the market is gonna go? Down. Okay, so I'm cautious at that, but I need the last confirmation, which is going below this and not respecting this gap. Maybe use this as an inversion to get down. But just because these are left for now, maybe he wants to go higher, maybe he wants to just give them a nudge. However, there's a daily and a micro cycle and a macro and micro cycle, all at these highs. So that's why we have our classic opening gun, right? On top of that, we open here, right? And we have a premium opening, so we need to go down to close it. So all of these are indications that we are going down. However, I need to see a closure below these two gaps specifically, right? Or a full closure below this gap and like showing signs of going down to like rule out that would never go to these highs, right? Why is these highs why they're highlighted, right? So this is just like if we're looking at order flow in 15-minute, right? There's nothing else here, right? We took this high, right? This high goes into, doesn't go to this gap, which is weird, but it's on like a 30-minute. This is a 30-minute gap regardless, right? Goes down, and then comes back all the way up to the fair value gap here, right? We use the bullish, and then we use the bearish. That's why this is genuinely a market structure shift. If we go below it properly like that and close, you see what I'm saying? We need displacement. We do get displacement, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, okay, we are kind of bearish for now, but we'll see if anything changes at market open. Market opens, it's open and gone, right? And you'll notice where this lays. It lays almost on top of all these gaps, right? So we go, think about this, right? We go up to here. That's a buy. And on the other side, it's a sell. And anything between this price action, you can see we're offering buy, sell, buy, we're accumulating. And then we'll go through it. This is how you know we created a breakaway gap. So at this time, when the candle closed, I'm like, okay, if we come back to it and make a fair value gap, I'm more likely going to try short, especially if we can get up to here. However, once we leave this area, it's done, right? If we really leave it, and we do leave it, now we make our first presented fair value gap, right? So let's just clean up the chart as we talk. Right, so now I understand this and this. So now I know my risk parameter, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Next fair value gap, I want to take it, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't fully ready because some stuff I wanted to put on the chart kind of like woke up slightly late, so I kind of needed 5 minutes. But I was like, oh shit, I didn't even log into Topstep by now because I didn't expect it's a day where 9:30 is gonna be gone like instantly, because it still didn't look at my other stuff. But you know, looking back at it, obviously it was gonna go. So I'm just there like, bro, give me an entry, and then I look at the risk, right? So I was like, okay, this is a big first presented fair value gap, right? I don't know if I want to do that, right? And honestly, it shouldn't even come up all the way up here, but like, come on, you have to give it something, right? And I was like, okay, I'll just enter whatever in it. Maybe look for that, right? Maybe if it gives that, you know what I'm saying, showing signs. Too big, too risky, right? Especially why is it risky? It's not just because of the gap and size or whatever. I wasn't ready. Like this is 9:30, and normally I'm just expecting some bullshit at 9:30 while I'm making the chart and annotations, checking stuff. Nope, it's gone, right? But while I'm looking at the other chart and I'm like, wait, this is it's a high probability fair value gap. Why? Because the first presented goes through, right, the top of the new weekly opening gap, which is also a daily volume imbalance, right, which is also a weekly volume imbalance, right? Like this is the proper PD array to be using right now, and that's what gauges what price is going to do. Going through it like that with a big fair value gap and closing, right, like that, was so bearish. I just wanted to see what price will do if it's going to offer me the CE. Guess what it does? Goes to the upper quadrant, lower quadrant, and says nah, right? Goes to the lower quadrant, can I put it, and says nah. That's so bearish. I was like, oh no, right? Like I already seen this and I was like, oh no, I should have entered, right? But no, I shouldn't, because right now I'm just practicing on being like taking my best possible trade. I wasn't ready, so this wasn't a proper trade because I couldn't frame my risk. I couldn't like all the annotations were not done for the days for me to enter. That would be technically me like, oh shit, price is moving. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying, type of entry. I don't want to do that anymore. I understand the most probability this was gonna go down. It was not gonna visit this, but it's not a perfect trade for me as of now because it's my fault that I came probably like at 9:20 to the market. That's so late. I didn't have enough time. Understanding this, and I'm right now I'm watching if we treat the first presented fair value gap nicely and then go and make an order block. I'm just studying that for now, right? And as you can see, the order block is offered, but the order block is a bit wonky because it has a big wick, right? So I'm looking at the ones with the wick. I'm looking at where stop loss could be. Would the stop loss be there if we hit a quadrant and left or whatever, right? So right now I'm just studying it for now. And I remember I entered something on paper, right? I entered this mentally, right? And I entered this on paper. I think probably took a 15-second gap after like the order block was respected, right? No. I took a 15-second here. Once I see we respect the fair value gap in the 15-second, that would be great. And also on top of that, what's even clearer, right? Once we make the balanced price range, right? Look, this low, right? You can see all this is just buy side delivery. This fair value gap is on inside. Now this is clearer. Now once below this low, what's the first presented fair value gap in there? Right? Which also is the first presented fair value gap. This 15-second first presented fair value gap, which hits the thingy quadrant. That's perfect. That right there. This should be my entry, but I wasn't ready, right? So I took one on paper, close proximity, when I was like, all right, let me just see what happens. And then that goes. This thing under it. So remember, on top of that, oh, I was on Monday trading. Anyway, on top of that, this, what stops us here? What could stop us? What could like give us some sort of support? This 1 hour volume imbalance with the fair value gap, which is what's marked under here, right? So now we understand that. We can see price goes into it, closes below the midpoint, very questionable, and takes Asia liquidity, right? So once that is done, now is like, oh, could we take the high? Right? And so let me explain like the entry. So once that is done, it's like this high, okay, maybe we could reverse now, right? But like I know probability wise, because I was still drawing up the liquidities and shit, that we're still going down, but like maybe we could visit higher in the first presented or something. This right there, again here, is the confirmation. Once we respect this gap and go down, that's your confirmation. This is a high probability, like changing state basically on the 15-second basically of it. You can take it any day, stop loss above this high, it's not gonna get taken. Happy days, and just let it run, okay? So once we make this breakaway gap, right here, boom, right, this little range, which I didn't check in the 15, so I checked it in the 1 minute. So now let's get rid of this in the 1 minute. Now it's a clear breakaway. I highlighted it saying that I wouldn't want price to come back into it yet until we take another set of liquidity, right? What's the next set? PM, right? PM liquidity. So right there, and below that, I'm guessing we have something else. Yeah, we have another 1 hour fair value gap that I want to see getting disrespected if we're going to keep lower, because I'm targeting lower and lower. Let's put just the lunch low, right? Start at 12 there. Let's put SGL or some shit. It's bright as fuck. It's just, well, I need to remember it with the name. I can't be able to write. Anyway, so we take that and then we go below it, okay? So now I'm like, okay, we're still gonna go lower. So you can see once we go below it, now I don't care about it, right? So let's just make sure that I understand. I need to follow everything within this. Now I want price to go to discount, right? It's iffy what discount is, because I check discount really on the 15 and the 5 minute if we have a drop like that. And at that time, why does it keep dragging me there? At that time, I'm kind of framing like this high to this low as discount, right? So it should have been here. This high to this low is discount. I'm like, we're already gone too far. Like if we still bearish, I wouldn't want us to go above this, right? And that's also including like the 1 hour fair value gap, which was here, right? It's right here in this area. So I was like, okay, bit iffy. Let's check the 5 minute range, and we do have this range, right, from the 0.25, right, and then here to the bottom. So that was a discount that I had, right? But I just deleted it because too many lines. So anything above that. So I'm looking at OTE or that range 6.2, 7.5, blah blah blah. So I'm just looking at something if we're gonna go higher, right? And on top of that, I want to see if we can visit a fair value gap in discount, right? Right there is a fair value gap in discount. This is basically ended, right? We're above the upper quadrant in discount, so we could shoot up there. As you can see, I don't have it highlighted, but I'm making a mental note of it. And in that, I want to see any PD array that supports price. So I'm looking at the 4 hour. And we have this wick. And on top of that, I have the opening price highlighted of it, which is a change in state of delivery. And on the 1 hour, I don't have this highlighted, right? But I know this is the second stage of that change state or whatever, right? But mainly once we enter like above here, I know we're entering like the inverse fair value gap again if we're gonna offer it. So I'm just putting PD arrays out there. I want to see what price is reacting to. And are we gonna go up to that breakaway gap that we can now use it? Nope. We don't. We go up there and drop down sharply. Right. So now don't need this. I understand this is a breakaway gap that's going to be open. I don't need this discount because it's done, right? Now we have open 10 a.m. and we have went up, right? So 10 a.m. power 3. Boom, changing state right there. You see? We close below it, right? And at that time, I'm fully not convinced yet because like I want the big change in state, right? I want like I want this to be like one shot, one like boom, I'm in there. Okay. And boom, 2 minute, big change in state right here. Of course, my entry is not going to be there. That risk is too high. And this type of change in state, when it's a series of order blocks, I low-key want it to go into it, right? I want it to go into it. And as you can see, right there, from studying, it goes a lot to the midpoint of it, right? It goes to the mean threshold, not thing, it actually goes into it. And then on top of that, there's a 1 minute entry here, right? So all of them confluences. And on top of that, on the 15-second, we're making buy side, right? Buy side liquidity, right? This high, right? If you like really zoomed in, right? I'm talking like, I'm saying. So I put my limit order right there actually. Boom. I basically ticked it with no drawdown, right? This offers me the entry into this 1 minute fair value gap, the change in state, right? In case he wants to use the wick, and like the mean threshold of the whole series of order block, right? Boom, goes in, no drawdown, dash down, right? Here, we go down and then we go all the way up. I'm still holding stop loss at like the same thing, right? I don't care. Like liquid, there's no need for price to change yet, right? I don't care what it's doing. It's just trying to piss me off, right? And I don't know what the hell I was calculating here, right? Because it's just marking what price was doing, right? Nothing matters until boom, right there. Okay, right there. That's a lunch. Now we have, once we had 5-to-1 ratio, right? We have one buy side, 1, 2, 3. Let's get rid of this now. 4, 5 sell sides. Now at this rate, we are 1-to-1. One sell side, one buy side, right? This, once we left this stupid consolidation range, taking these lows, this is meant to be a breakaway gap, right? We go thingy, and then we trade into it. Manual close, that's it, done, right? That means we're not going to attempt to get to this liquidity, unlike these lows. Why? Because these lows, what are all of these? And I need to delete all of this, right? I'm just going to get rid of all of this. It's a mess. It's a mess. Anyway, all of this is a mess. I mean, all of this is relative equal lows here. This is Monday low. This is Tuesday low. And now we're making Wednesday low. we're setting up liquidity. There's a chance to set up liquidity. That's why you should always look to exit, right? And that's why I exited and look what price done, goes all the way up, doesn't even come back to it, and then comes all the way back, and it would have taken me out if I didn't close. So yes, I tried to push it, but that is more than enough. That's right there. Is 104 handles. Done. Simple. Right? Good trade. And I like that I waited through all of this and took the most obvious shot. Boom. One shot. Done. Right? I didn't try to chase it here, even though I knew it was short. Didn't try buy up. Didn't. No, I'm just saying it's short. I'm gonna only enter once it gives me that nice juicy opportunity. And it did. And I took it. And we out. This is the first time in a while my account just says one trade. Right? And I'm gonna keep it that way. This is what I'm gonna do. It's either gonna be no trade, 1 or 2 trades max. Right? So other confluences other than the 10 a.m. whatever and all the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm still at the same time watching the other chart, right? And this is the PDRA chart, and as you can see, we go to the lower quadrant, and that's why we went all the way up. We couldn't get to the upper quadrant and then go break below it. Here, that little wick to get me in goes down, and that down hits the bottom of the volume imbalance, right? To check if we're respecting it or not, I go on a 5-minute time frame. As you can see, no closures below. Simple as that. And yeah, that's the day. And then after that, once TP is hit, there is just meandering around, right? It's just trading sell side. It creates relative equal lows. Honestly, this kind of final hour macro play, right? Creates relative equal lows. I can see this trade, right? So now let's get rid of this gap. Let's get rid of this entry. Order block, the 10-minute open. Right. I'm gonna clean up the liquidity later because I need to take some notes. Right. Let's work out another liquidity, right? That's launch low right there. Do we take it at PM? No. Launch low. Kind of an early PM low. We take it out. We wick. We're gonna have an SMP for sure. That's the 2. We take it. 2. We don't take it. See? A SMT. And then we need the full change in state here, for example. And to me, that's literally with the whole swing. I don't care about all of these. I want the whole big boy, whatever time frame change in state. And that means taking here, right there. I know this don't look like the same logic, but I'm just talking about mean change in state, right? And that once it's done, we have a fair value gap inside it. Easy buy. And why do I want this one? Because this is the breaker block one, right? If you're not noticing, this is just the unicorn, right? Fair value gap inside a breaker block right there. Boom. I'm just gonna try to get a nice entry that matches both. That's why it's right here, which is also the big higher time frame change in state. This would be like a let's say, I don't know, a 5-minute maybe. Yeah, you see this 5-minute. That's why it's the change in state. You see what I'm saying? That take this entry, stop loss. I mean, I wouldn't even want it to go this low, but they say go safest bet, right? I don't care. Always go safest bet. Highs. Is that it? Ooh, filling this gap. Could he see right there? You're just trying to gauge proper risk. Boom. That's the final hour macro. And honestly, it's just 3 candles or whatever. You wait. Notice that it comes back to it, right? Still respecting both, right? And then comes back and takes the high again, right? But you're not gonna take this trade because that's just stupid. They'll take this one. That's it. Market recap done. 25 minutes, not too bad. Explained everything more than well. And now I need to get and figure out what the hell these gonna take. You know what? Let me get rid of it now, bro, because this shit. This is not it. Let me put what do I think, right? Because initially this needs to come back to down to the whole range, and the whole range is not done yet, right? So let me just add a little bit extra sauce, right? I need the whole range, and it's not that. For now, it's still this, right? And if we're gonna go any higher, still we need this count, and now we can clearly see what liquidity is. Liquidity, previous daily low, previous daily low, previous daily low. You know what I'm saying? And PD array here for any chance of going higher. Or what is it looking like? I don't know if it's gonna use this range. Wait, no, don't mess with that. That's a opening range gap. See, don't need to annotate that shit. I know it. Alright, this now could be then once we're getting into here and close this, we can actually use our whole range, right? And then this will be a different thing, but then it gets questionable if this just a sus low, because again we didn't make an SMT, and all we're gonna go for these lows, you know. But you take it a day at a time, because we still have buy side liquidity, and now we're creating, you know what I'm saying? So we can finish the market maker buy model. This could be a small money reversal, or this could be just a big market maker sell. Or this just could be an accumulation. I don't know, right? I don't care what it's doing actually locally on the high time. I actually don't care. I care I'm just catching the day. What today and yesterday done, and what is it most likely gonna do? And if I can understand the higher time frame, it's cool. But if I don't care. What's the high here? I can't lie, I don't know. I didn't even check, right? I don't think it's upper quadrant. I doubt it. Nope. And I do not know, and I actually do not care what the high was and why was it the high. Not like before, I used to care what was the high, what was the low, what was whatever. Don't care. However, I bet there is gonna be some uses for these two levels, right? Throughout the day, like surely. Right, so once we go to the upper quadrant, see, that's a high probability inversion fair value gap right there. That is a nice inversion fair value gap to take. Can't lie. What's the time? 8:50. Right there. Once we go below it, boom. Visit that mini 1 minute fair value gap and respect it, and then trade down again. That was a confirmation if I'm trading early, right? And what else? That, yeah, like going through a quadrant like that, bro. And then again, the open, like, come on. It couldn't be more obvious. Specifically, why? Because we didn't take this high here and we start going like if we, from OTE, we really should go higher. We shouldn't be coming back into the range, right? And that just tells you we've shifted the market structure right there to go down. Anyway, so what do I expect? Honestly, I don't care. What I expect is, let me just double check, is the news still out there? Checking November 7th. So no, we meant to have CPI and PPI, and that's what I expected, how we're setting up this week. So now it's free for all. Again, we're still setting up the relative equal lows. I'm guessing we're gonna just do this again. We're gonna feel like what we did and then try to dump lower. It depends on what liquidity we create, but I'm still looking for shorts, right? And I don't know if I'm still looking for it now, because how we trading, it depends on how we trade with this volume imbalance. And clearly we're trying to trade above it and trade below it, trade above it, trade below it, right? We're filling it, right? We're filling it. It's a weekly volume imbalance. We're making it efficient. And then, but we keep making higher highs, making this basis that we got support, right? So that's why it's sus for me. And honestly, looking at that area, there's things and reasons to go down, right? Because it's, the opening range gap for this week we did not touch, and the new weekly opening gap for this week we basically didn't touch as well. And on top of that, like, it's just a daily fair value gap as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's reasons to go down to this area. So I'm more bearish than bullish right now, but like, I don't care as well. Like I'm just trying to catch something small and just have higher risk on it. That's better than trying before my trade my style of trading. Well, I would catch like a high from here, and if I don't get all the way to this low, that's not good enough for me. Or like I'm basically trying to top and bottom tick the market. Garbage style. And most of the day, I can tell you like, oh, this fair value gap will go to here, or this fair value gap will at least go to here, right? I can do that, but I wouldn't take that trade because it's not the high or the low of the day. Like, bro, I'm stupid, right? So now, might as well just take big boy risk, right? And then big boy profit. That's all I'm gonna say. That was the market recap. Peace the fuck out.